Well, Kirby Smart is telling fans that Georgia is not going to be a flash in the pan. That's from reporting from Mark Weiser, our friend over at the Athens Banner Herald. Really good reporting from Mark from his time covering the offseason that is Georgia. We've not had tons of availability. But one thing that Mark is reporting about and Kirby is saying is that this is certainly going to be a challenge um, in replacing the folks that you've got that have left, the slew of players that went in the first round. Here's what Mark had Kirby saying. He said you have to stay in that conversation talking about the college football playoff. This will be the most talent in a while. Excuse me, this will be the most talent as a whole we've lost at once. But every year we lose juniors who are really good players. The challenge as coaches is to make sure we bring enough talent to replace those guys. We are also developing. There's no question they're developing. I've got an announcement I'm making on Sunday. Make sure that you're paying attention to the announcement on Sunday. It's really cool. I think y'all really like it. Um, I don't think Georgia's going anywhere. I don't think we're close to Georgia going anywhere. Winning the national championship every single year, that's tough to pull off. I mean, the last time that Georgia um, won the national champion, excuse me, Alabama, anybody repeated was Alabama in 11 and 12. I mean, it just doesn't happen very often. But we are at a point here where Georgia can win multiple national championships in a half decade period. I mean, they've already got the first one. So, Georgia, Alabama, LSU, Clemson, those have been the most recent national champions. You got to go back to 2014 and Ohio State before, anybody else has won it. But it's been a closed group. And basically, Ohio State, Georgia, and Clemson have played for the national championship lately. So when Kirby says, I want to win every single time, so that doesn't change anything as far as what we've got to accomplish this year. Yeah, he's talking about winning the national championship again. No, it's not a repeat, and that's not something. This moment won't be repeated. We're running out of books, at least in this edition. So this 80-page, uh, 80 pages of awesomeness won't be repeated specifically like all the pages that are in here. But there could be a volume two of DAWGSTRUCTION coming up soon if Georgia repeats as national champions. Really cool book. You're going to want to check that out. Running out, get it now before I run out and have to reorder because that takes time. Winning the national championship again is not out of the question for Georgia in 2022. It just won't be a repeat. The guys that would be repeating are they're in the league, right? I mean, it's not at all like the NFL. The Rams are looking to repeat, I guess, in theory, because they have so many of the same players. But this Georgia team, this Georgia program, okay, is not a flash in the pan. He says he doesn't see it that way either. Well, hey, no doubt, man. I mean, this Georgia program has been recruiting and developing at a level the likes of which we've really just not seen a lot of in college football lately. Now, we've seen it, okay? I think Clemson did an excellent job developing. Okay, I do. Now, I don't know if they're continuing to do that. That's, it doesn't look like it, like they did. I think Alabama has been just like Georgia, elite in terms of recruiting. In terms of development, I don't know Alabama as well as I know Georgia. Georgia's done a great job developing players. There are plenty of, I mean, Stetson Bennett is step one in that. Okay, you don't think Stetson Bennett got better from 2020 to 21? You're crazy. Okay, but what we're seeing here, is some of this is I don't want to say false modesty, but it should be understood that Georgia's not a flash in the pan. In fact, and none of Mark Rick's teams, the program was not a flash in the pan. Okay, it was a program that was not achieving the way it could. this program has achieved, and I think for me, you could consider the Auburn teams of the past a flash in the pan. You could consider, um, LSU 100% in 19 was a flash in the pan, although they gave you pretty good indication in 18 how good they could be. Um, the the thing about Georgia and Ohio State both specifically, whereas Ohio State's not won the national championship, I think they will. Those two and Alabama have been the most consistent in terms of getting to New Year's Six games, avoiding sort of seasons that have been down, what you'd call down seasons. Alabama had a down season that involved them winning 10 or 11 games, whatever it was, and winning the Capital One Bowl. That's not bad. Clemson last year, that was a down year. I mean, they saved themselves many times. I would not confuse a 10-win season in the ACC with a 10-win season in the SEC. But Georgia hasn't had a four-loss season. You know, under Kirby, Georgia hasn't had their disappointing season was losing to Texas in the Sugar Bowl. Clemson's disappointing season was beating Iowa State in the. I don't want to make fun of it because I can't remember if it was the Cheez-It Bowl, the Cheese Puff Bowl, but whatever it wasn't a big bowl, right? And finishing third in their division or whatever it was. That's not been what Georgia's dealt with. So when you talk about the clusters of teams in the top six or so teams, Oklahoma has had, I don't know what's going on at Oklahoma, but a little bit like Clemson, we can't really know what the future is at Oklahoma because they've had a lot of turnover there. Now, Clemson hasn't been losing players like Oklahoma, but boy, man, Oklahoma got clean out. Why are they ranked in the top 10? Okay, so guys, you got to put somebody in there. That's the problem. Um, I just no, Georgia's not a flash in the pan. They're half the kitchen. I mean, we've gotten to a point here where Ohio State, Georgia, Bama, if you want to include Clemson, if you want to include, boy, I don't know who else you could include, but Michigan, I would not include Michigan right now. I wouldn't include Clemson, but let's put those five in there. If you want to include those five, Georgia right now is not being challenged by the Gators. Georgia's not being challenged by LSU right now. This is about Georgia and Bama. I don't think Texas A&M. I don't think we can legitimately talk about. I don't have a problem with Texas A&M at all. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. But they got to do more than what they've been doing lately to, to really talk about being in the grouping with the teams I've mentioned. I mean, they've beaten Alabama and done nothing with it. I mean, Clemson beat Alabama, they won the national championship. Georgia beat Alabama, they won the national championship. LSU beat Alabama, they won the national championship. Texas A&M beat Alabama and proceeded to lose four other games, including Arkansas. And some of the games I can't even remember. They lost to LSU. Last year's LSU. That's not a good LSU team. But Auburn, they're not where they need to be to challenge. Tennessee has gotten better. Are they at the point where they can challenge Georgia? Not beat them. Yeah, they can beat Georgia. Can they knock them out of the East? No, I don't think so. So that's kind of where we're at. There's going to be a lot of hope about Tennessee coming into the season, and they will either be the 2 or the 3 for me in the East. But they got beat 41-17 at home last year. That was a competitive game for about 15 minutes. It really was. Well, probably 25. And then they got blown out, right? So Georgia is not a flash in the pan. What Kirby needs to do, okay, I know he watches a lot of these or the bulk of these, whatever, is win multiple national championships. And, the separator for him from everybody else is not one national championship. Ed Orgeron won one national championship. Gene Chizik. There are a lot of people that have won one national championship. Jimbo Fisher's won a national championship. So Larry Coker, so you can win one. But Urban Meyer's won 3. And Nick Saban's won more than that. Dabo Sweeney has won 2. I mean, so one is not going to get it. One's not enough. I'm not being that way. He should win multiple national championships. Honestly, he should win more than 2. But it's up to him, and it's his program, the way he runs it, that's going to lead to multiple national championships. But they got to do it. Now, they did it last year. They did it in 21. This was the moment here where he could finally breathe. I think he was breathing after Keeley got into the end zone. I'm not sure though. Actually, if you go back and watch it, he finally cracked a smile as whoever it was sacked Bryce Young for the however manyth time. That's when he finally relaxed. But my expectation for Kirby is not a comparison to flash in the pan. No, they're not a flash in the pan. But I want to see a full blown fire, and I think Georgia can do that under Kirby Smart. We got a really important announcement coming Sunday. Hey, stick around for that. We'll see you then.